Good morning and welcome to Live from Currituck Extension. My name is Sherry Fischelsweiger and I'm the Currituck County 4-H agent. As the 4-H agent, I provide leadership to the County 4-H program, providing young people the opportunity to learn leadership, citizenship, and life skills that allows them to become effective contributing citizens through their participation in non-formal, research-based, hands-on educational experiences. On today's episode of Live from Currituck Extension, we're going to be covering seed banks, saving for our future. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications. That will let you know when we post new videos and go live. If you have any questions during our class, just type them into the chat and we'll answer them as we go. If you're watching the recording of this class and you have questions, please email us or call us and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And our information can be found in the description below. So, this time of year is when families are planning their spring and summer gardens. They're choosing what plants they want to grow and how big their garden will be, what supplies they might need in order to design and plant and then grow a successful crop. One of the decisions they're going to have to make is what seed and what type of seed they're going to use in their garden. These days, it's fun to browse through the many varieties of commercial seed sellers and take advantage of the breeding expertise that goes into the creation of new varieties. Or you can browse through seed racks in the store, a home improvement store, or your local grocery store. Everybody has seeds nowadays. This allows you to choose the type of variety of plant that you want. There's hundreds and hundreds of different tomatoes. So you can look through and find you want an early one that is an early, lost that word, one that's going to be ready earlier in the season, or do you want to carry your crop out through the fall? So all of these plant seeds have been bred for specific characteristics. And that's one of the things that you have to consider. But one of the interesting and rewarding experiences you can do is harvest your own seeds from your garden. Those will allow you to have the seeds of the type of plant that you have become accustomed to or that you like, or to root out seeds that you don't necessarily like because you didn't like that variety. This is a great activity to do with kids, so the whole family can do it together. And if you have young children, they're going to really love digging into squishy vegetables to get those seeds out to collect and save. So what did our gardeners do before there were seed catalogs or home improvement garden shops? They didn't get to order seed packets. They had to save their own seeds and then sow them the following season. They had to harvest those seeds from their plants, clean them, dry them, store them, and so they would have them available. In other words, they created a seed bank, which ensures that you have seed for the next with the characteristics you want. Seed banks come in all shapes and sizes, and there are many different reasons for creating a seed bank. These images that you see on the slide are three types of seed banks. There's the Svalbard seed bank in Norway, which is a global seed bank that has sort of an insurance policy for the world's food supply. It offers options for future generations to overcome any challenges that may be encountered and the loss of a variety or a number of varieties of plants. There are millions of seeds in the Svalbard seed bank, and they represent every important crop variety that is available today. And from the past, many, many seeds from the past. The Fort Collins Seed Bank is the U.S. version of the Svalbard Seed Bank. It's housed on the campus of Colorado State University, and it houses more than 850,000 plant and seed material. And it has largely the same mission as the Svalbard Seed Bank, to make sure that seeds are readily available should there be a loss due to climate change, population growth, man-made or natural disaster. I actually did notice in the news yesterday that there's a the worldwide banana crop is undergoing a disease right now. So there is a potential for use of banana seeds uh, to help those growers. The other seed bank you see over there is just a personal seed bank created to save seeds with the characteristics of fruits and vegetables that came out of our garden. Um, we like tomatoes that come all through the season. So we have several different varieties, um, early producers, late producers. We have some producers that um, have the characteristic of being drought resistant because it gets particularly hot here in North Carolina in August. So we have a variety of different seasons and a variety of different reasons. And it's not hard to create your own personal seed bank. It does require some basic knowledge and some advanced planning. The saving, it's not difficult nor a complicated process. You can save seeds from any plant in your garden if you want to produce plants with the same characteristics. But you do need to pay attention to a couple of things. As you can see from the picture of this acorn squash packet that I have here, it's a hybrid seed. Hybrid seeds do not breed true back to their parent plants. So if you're going to save seeds, you need to ensure that they're not hybrid seeds. A hybrid seed is an intentional controlled crossing of two lines of plants that allows specific desirable traits to be bred, like disease resistance or early ripening. The other thing you need to pay attention to is if you have different varieties. For instance, if you have two types of pole beans, you want to separate them if they require to avoid cross-pollination. The same with tomatoes. If they're self-pollinating plants, then it doesn't matter. But if they require pollinators like bees, you want to separate those two varieties as far as possible to ensure that the pollinators don't cross between both varieties. It's easy to create a seed bank. 3 simple steps. We're going to create a seed bank by harvesting your seeds, then drying your seeds, and then storing them. Not hard, but it is a process that you need to keep a couple of things in mind. I'm going to show you a video in which we harvest the seeds, how we clean the seeds before we dried them, and then how to store those seeds once the seeds have finished drying. Can't hear it. So what you're seeing in that video is a selection of fruit. When you select the fruit that you want to harvest the seeds from, you're going to allow it to ripen so that it's slightly overripe. This will allow the seeds to fully develop. And you want to just leave it in your garden to do that ripening. Don't bring it into your house. I'm harvesting the seeds from a butternut squash in this video, but the process is the same for most fruits and vegetables. Just slice open the fruit, make sure you get to the seed cavity, which is in the large end of this butternut squash. Slice it open and then pull out the seeds. Seeds have to be thoroughly cleaned, and there's a couple of ways to do this. I've chosen to clean these seeds by allowing them to soak in warm water for a couple of days. That has a dual function. It will separate the pulp from the fruit, but it will also cause non-viable seeds to float to the surface, so you can already remove them from the seeds that you're going to save because you know they're non-viable. You could also uh, just rinse the seeds thoroughly under running water, or just simply take a paper towel or a wet cloth and rub them gently to get the material off. If that would be very time consuming on a fruit that has a number of seeds, but if you're like harvesting um, a mango seed or an avocado seed, that's a single seed, so you could clean it that way. So you can see there in the video that I'm just putting the seeds there in the bowl. They'll sit in that bowl for 2 to 4 days, and then they'll be relatively clean. You might have to check them, uh, but most of the pulp will be gone. Clean your seeds, you've allowed to sit, is to rinse them off, which I have done here. And then you need to spread your seeds out so that they can thoroughly dry before you actually put them up to store. Now you can use a piece of cloth or a newspaper or paper towels like I'm using in this example here. Then you just want to take your seeds and gently spread them out in a single layer so they have the opportunity to dry. You don't need to cover them, just leave them here on the paper towel. You want a cool, dry place, not in direct sunlight and not where there's a draft, because as they dry, they'll get lighter and you don't want them to blow around. So you're just going to set them out on your paper towel, allow them to dry, probably 4 to 7 days. You want your seeds to be thoroughly dry. If you store a seed in your storage container and it has moisture, it will likely mold, and then you'll not get the benefit of planting that seed. So while very simple, it's very important. Okay, so the third and final step of creating your individual home seed bank is to take the seeds that you've harvested and now dried and store them, and you need to store them properly. You're going to want a container that you can put an airtight lid on and create a seal that prevents moisture from getting into your seeds. And then you're going to want to put your seeds in that container. And you're going to want to label your container, or you're going to want to write on a piece of paper that you can insert with your seeds. You want the variety of seeds that you're saving, the date you harvested them, and the date you stored them. So seeds can be stored for much longer than one season, and then you may not use all these seeds in the next growing season, but you would need to know how long you've had that seed if you carry it on for season after season. That's the final step, and you now have the first seed of your personal home seed bank. So, 3 simple steps, and you have a home seed bank with seeds saved uh, for your use later. Saving seeds is not a modern concept. Our forefathers, it's been going on for hundreds of years, commonly save their seeds year after year to preserve the best specimens of the plant that they wanted to grow, ones that had the most abundant production and the best flavor. Saving seeds from a garden uh, is a great way to save money. You can recycle last year's seeds instead of having to purchase new. Saving seeds with kids is the perfect way to provide a fun and engaging activity, and it also creates an increase of their knowledge of sustainability and self-sufficiency. Most importantly, harvesting seeds with your children teaches them where their food comes from. It teaches them the life cycle of a plant from seed to fruit and mature fruit or vegetable. And it teaches them how it's grown and the importance of the land and the people that produce our food. Uh, and that probably the most important uh, reason to do this activity with young children and helps them uh, know a little bit more about their food and how it gets to the grocery store and then to their table. And that's all I have for today's episode of Live from Currituck Extension. I do see that I have one question about the difference between hybrids and GMOs. They are different. A hybrid plant is just selective breeding to create a plant that has the characteristics you want. So if you are trying to have a plant that is an early producer, you would select the strongest plants and those that produce the earliest, and you would breed them together to hopefully create a plant that will bloom or produce fruit earlier and all the time. Whereas GMOs are plants or seed material that have had their DNA sequence modified by whatever means. Um, and uh, hybrids, you can actually create a hybrid at home. You cannot create a GMO at home. So that's another actual lesson that you could do with children in your home is it's a little long term, but you could select plants that had the best fruit and the prettiest fruit and try to um, mix that seed. You would have to mix it. You can't actually, you're not a plant breeder, and we don't have all the technology to do that at home. But I have seen grafting. My father does that with his fruit trees to keep certain fruit trees um, uh, insect resistant is what he is usually working on. So that there is a difference between those plants. And yes, I see we have another question. You can save seeds from flowers, and you can also hybridize flowers. And doing flowers with young kids is always very fun because flower seeds, you can allow them to actually dry right on in the flower in your garden, and they can go out and collect the seeds from the garden rather than having to uh, wait on the fruit to ripen uh, uh, at the end of the growing season. Uh, I have never saved any flower seeds. I tend to focus on fruits and vegetables myself, but I know people that do uh, because of a specific color or a specific bloom time that they're trying to um, acquire in their garden. If you have any more questions after this briefing or you're watching this recorded version, please just get with us using our information that's at the end of this uh, video. You can make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the bell. That'll allow you to know, receive notifications when we're having new videos or the times of our videos. It also We have a description below for links to all of our classes and our social media sites. And we also have one for the evaluation. Please just take a few minutes and answer this. It's a very short evaluation, but it helps us to improve our classes or potentially offer a class on a subject that you would be more interested in. We will not have a live from Currituck on Monday. And the next class or the next video will be Tuesday, and it'll be Guide to Your Backyard Peaches with Adam Formella, our agriculture agent. Don't forget to tune in at 11:30.